Good afternoon, everybody. I think it's singing around. I'm not sure, I don't know if you are all here, but it's 4 o'clock, and so we start our presentation. So I want to welcome you all to the press conference of Climar, the international dealership network. Our members are the 16 national associations involving dealers in agricultural machinery and dealers in garden machinery. So in total, there are 19,000 dealers involved in our organization, and they have close to 160,000 employees. The Board of Climar, so the Climar consists of our members, but the day-to-day business is handled by our board, where we have Ludger Gude from Germany, who is also the vice president of the German National Association, Pierre Prim, who is the president of the French Association CEDIMA, and Roberto Rinaldin, who is the president of UNACMA, the Italian dealer organization. And then myself, Erik Hogevorst, as president of Climar. So we are the board, and we are supported by Jelle Bartlema, who is the general secretary for Climar. The highlights that I want to discuss with you today, and I don't know how it works, if you can enter some questions. Otherwise, after the presentation, there will be some time and possibility for questions, I hope. Yeah, at first we will touch some base on the COVID situation, which we found during this year. The branch reports and the Climar index, the results of the European DSI, and some insights on our lobby activities. Yeah, so as we start with the COVID situation that we all faced, we have had a survey about this COVID situation amongst our members, and the purpose was to have a quick scan on what is the situation, what are the questions that the European dealers are faced with, are the differences between the different countries, how is it with everybody on a business level. The survey was held between 8th and 29th of May. So on the 8th of May, the survey was sent out, and the answers were all received before the 29th of May. So we were all just starting in this COVID situation. We had, of course, Italy already from February. Some other countries had the lockdown a little bit later, but in May we were all in this situation. The participation was in total on 14 countries, and the response was a total of 660 dealer companies answered to the survey. So in a big highlight, the result, the first question was, are you currently experiencing consequences due to the COVID situation? And as we see here, 61% of our members faced consequences, but they were limited. So the effect on their business was limited. In 21% of the cases, they didn't really experience on a business level. Let's be clear on this. This was on a business level. On a business level, didn't really experience any differences due to the COVID situation. And only 19% of our members said, yeah, we have a lot of difficulties. We have a lot of problems due to the COVID situation. What were these problems then that we faced? And here it was quite clear that 3/4 of these cases experienced the biggest problems on the COVID situations in the sales department. And that is something that we certainly for the first lockdown, so in February, March, what we saw is that the effect was on the sales was huge. People said, okay, we don't know what will be the situation in the future. We will know what this will bring for the coming year. So the first reaction was to hold back on investments, even cancel investments that were already engaged. But yeah, the continuation was uncertain. So we first wanted to see how our customers first wanted to see how this would continue. For slight differences were experienced on components, repair and maintenance. And of course, when you have less sales and less activities, you will also notice this in the administration. Yeah, and then the second question, or one of the questions, was of course also what is the difference in your order book, or what do you expect for the difference in your order book for the coming 3 months? And then we saw that the majority, let's say 56% of our members of the answers expected a decrease of 10% or less, and even 19% added to this expected no change at all. So also here, the effect on our businesses also in this time in May was still limited. Only 16% of the answers expected a decrease for more than 25%. That was what I had on this topic. So we will also see this back in the branch reports. Also there, of course, this was held a little later. These answers were given in the period of end of August and beginning of September. And in these branch reports, you see also this image and this same image on the situation on the business level. So that's why we will continue with the branch reports and the Climar index. First, our questionnaire was on the turnover per company, and you see big differences here in the different countries. For example, Denmark and Luxembourg, who stand out quite high, but this is also due to the situation on a business level. For example, in Germany, the turnover is more given per outlet, where in Denmark it's the company as a whole where the turnover is given. So you see some changes in this, but all over the average turnover per company for all Climar members is around 2.5 million euro per company. And the number of employees that this average company has is around 10.9. So also here you see some UK, Great Britain. You see that there is a quite high number of employees per company, and a big difference to the turnover. They don't have the biggest turnover, so you see. Probably we'll see more repair than trade on these companies. So, and if you see the structure, so what is this turnover built on? And it's for 56% is built on the sales of new equipment, 13% on the sales of second-hand equipment. So the trade for our members is let's say almost 70% of the turnover of our company. And the workshop, when you include the parts in this, is let's say only 27%. So it's 1/4 turnover in the workshop and 3/4 turnover on sales, second-hand and new equipment. Externals, depending on which company, can be training, can be rent. This can be different items per company, but it's only 4% of the total turnover of the average Climar dealer. And then when we see the developments in the first half of 2020, so from January until the end of June. you see that the development in countries Belgium, Germany, Poland, and Hungary is still quite positive on the total turnover. In the UK, France, and Switzerland, and Denmark, it's equal, so it's more or less the same as last year, as the same period in 2019. But in Sweden, Latvia, Netherlands, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Austria, and in Italy, it was down. So we had less turnover than in the same period in 2019. Almost the same situation, and therefore also you see that this is the biggest impact on the turnover of our companies. The same situation you see for the turnover for new equipment, because this will bring the most effect on the turnover in total. But a completely different image you see in the turnover in workshop. So for the first half of 2020, the turnover in the workshops was the same or more than last year. We don't have any countries that indicate a lower turnover in the workshops. This is quite positive. This is really an important point for our members. The workshop is a vital part of the businesses. So it's really a positive point that we were able to continue and increase our turnover in the workshop, and this lowers the effect of the lower turnover in the sales of new equipment. The same situation for spare parts, closely related, of course, to the workshop. Also here, only green, and some countries that indicate an equal turnover in the same period of 2019. A completely different image at first, and this is done a little bit earlier, was the first indication of the expectation for the first half year of 2020. We have sent it out, let's say, just in the beginning of the Corona crisis, and then we saw that everybody was, let's say, in shock. We didn't know what to expect. We saw the turnover of new machinery going down. So we expected quite a bad situation for our companies in the first half year of 2020. In September, this image was not turned around, but the negative effect decreased a lot. So we saw from a minus of 0.24, we go to a plus of 0.26. This doesn't mean that we have a growing turnover, but we have a growing trust in our industry, a positive trust in our industry for the first half year. The expectations for the coming half year, so the half year that we are in now, the second half year of 2020, is a stable image, slightly lower, but more or less stable. And this is also the image that the indications that we get from our members at the moment. And this is maybe more related to pig flu and the drought this year, which has a real big impact for our customers. And these situations have a bigger impact on the trust in our members for the coming half year than the Corona situation, because on a business level, the effect of this, and we are happy that we can say this, that we are in a business where we help growing the food for people. And people, if they go to a restaurant or if they pick up the food in a supermarket to eat it at home, makes a small difference for our members. And we see that it depends, of course, always on the specific markets, but an all-over situation is that it's not so negative for our members as that we expected at first. Yeah, then the third part of our presentation, we have the EU results for the DSI 2020. is the 10th survey that we hold in this way. Originated and still co-worked for CEDIMA, the French organization, and it's the 10th international, so the European DSI. For the second year, it's now an online survey, or the third year actually, and it's held by 8 countries in total at the moment. We are always looking for other countries to join, and for more dealers to join. So we hope that we can show these figures and enthusiast more people to join on this survey. The total participation is less this year, which was to be expected, because a lot of people are busy with their own situation, trying to find a way to the best way to go through this situation this year. And so we saw less focus on the dealer manufacturer relation, we think, and therefore had less participants on the survey. But still, in total, 862 companies filled in this complete survey. The results, in total, we ask 14 main questions to our members, which are then divided again in 5 or 6 specific questions on a certain point. So in total, it's around 100 questions that the companies have to fill in on this form. For this presentation, it would be too much to go into detail on every topic. So we have chosen 6 different topics that we want to enlighten in this presentation. And we want to invite you, if you need more information or do you want to receive the European results, please send us an email or look on the website, and there you can find the whole presentation of the DSI. The specific results per country, they have to be asked with each individual member of Climar, but we can always help you to find the right contact persons for this. Yeah, and then we start with the average for the brand image, and there we see that the total figure is down with 0.3%. So the appreciation from the dealers for their manufacturer on brand image is gone from 2019-15 to 14.7 for this year as an overall. The biggest changes here, the changes down are quite big. Case IH, Valtra, Kubota, New Holland, they go down by 0.9 to 0.7 point, which is quite a big change for 1 year. And the positive ones are Deutz-Fahr and Massey Ferguson, but only a slight increase on brand image. So we see for this year that the dealers, they value the brand image of their brands less than they were in 2019. For training, which is of course with the upcoming smart farming issues, more and more electronics and devices on the tractors is a high topic, really an important topic, and a growing importance for our members and the customers from our members, of course, because we have to be able to do the service on these tractors. And so here you see almost unchanged situation than in 2020 than in 2019, only 0.1 difference. The biggest decrease here, and which stands out really, is John Deere with a minus 1.3. So there you can see there is something happening. There is something happening in maybe more new techniques coming up, and maybe so much new technique that it's hard to follow for the dealers. This is something that they that can be an explanation for this situation. The other way around we see at Valtra. Let's hope they have set up a new training program for their dealers, because you see here that they go up by 1 full point, which is also there quite a big increase in the positive side. The all over average here, the maximum points that you can get is 20. So you see here that the dealers they value their manufacturer on training with, as I indicated, with a 6.5, which is above 5, but it's not really a high number. You would want to be above a 7 at least for things like this. So then, of course, also the average for the manufacturer-dealer relation, 14 in 2019 and 13.9 in 2020. So also here, overall, only a little difference. And also here you see that that John Deere and here also Case IH stand out on the negative side this year. So also here their dealers, they value the support from their or the relationship between with their manufacturer a lot less than they did last year. And also here you see that this maybe can have something to do with the changes in the dealer situations in different countries, and these changes are at first of course always not really valued highly. So let's wait and see what the result of these changes will be for last year. But it's in some cases a difficult situation for a dealer to see where does his business go, where does he what does he have to change, what does he have to do. The positive points here are the ones that stand out, Fendt and Deutsche Fahr. Valtra a little with plus 0.6, 2.4. So these are the positive ones. The average for the profitability contribution, and there we see a positive thing this year. So for 2020, the dealers, they value the profitability contribution of their brand higher than they did last year. Overall, it's a 0.2 difference, but especially Claas here stands out a lot. So the Claas dealers experienced a change in this position, and they see that they are able to earn more money over the last year than they did in the year 2019. So they are quite happy with their manufacturer with this. Also, Deutsche Fahr and Kubota, they are also on 0.5 and 0.6% up. And also here we see that this year John Deere is valued less by their dealers also on this point. The average for improvements, also here you see Claas up with 1.1% point. Sorry, not percent, but point. And of course, this also has when you are more open for improvements, this also has a positive effect on the all over situation for your brand. And in this case, it had quite a big impact on the profitability contribution, because you see the same companies here on the positive side as then you saw on the profitability contribution. Also here, Case IH, John Deere, and New Holland, they are the ones that are most on the downside. And yeah, let's hope that we can start working together and see how we can help you improve this relationship. The average for profitability contribution. I went in the wrong way. Sorry. The average for theft protection. And this is an historic low point of our questionnaire. A 9.9 is really a low number, and for this year it was valued even less. Now it's a 9.7. there are no indications for changes here. There are just no things going on, no initiatives from the manufacturers to improve this. Here only this year, Claas and Valtra, I'm not aware of any changes that were made on these tractors, or on the follow-up when a tractor is stolen. How does your manufacturer help you with this to find the tractor back? So we have to look and see and talk with Claas and Valtra what kind of changes they have made. And I hope then we can all learn from these things, so that we are on this positive side with all the brands in the next year. We hope to lift this at least above a 10, but it should go to a 13 or a 14 at least. Yeah, and then last but not least, we have the overall average for each brand. Almost unchanged, which is quite a good signal in a situation where we are in this year. So if we see the decrease in the turnover for new equipment, and we then still see that the average figure for the overall branch valuation is almost unchanged, this is more or less a positive sign. We are all in this boat together, and we have to help each other to get out of this in a positive way. And that is, when you look at it overall, that's valued quite good by our members. So Fendt this year, the first one, but more important, the involvement of Valtra and Claas improved a lot this year. John Deere, Case IH, maybe some changes in their dealer relations, and that has a negative effect on the devaluation of the dealer manufacturer relationship overall. So this is the questionnaire as we send it out. And like I said, if you need more information, if you would like to know more insights, or you can discuss with us on how these figures came out in this way, we are open, and we are willing to answer your questions on this. And that was my conclusion for this topic. And then last but not least, I want to talk with you about the lobby activities of Climar. We are quite active. We have Per Hedetoft from the Danish organization as our technical expert who does the lobby work for Climar. And with him, we are active in the ISO working group for repair and maintenance information. Not to work out the legal stuff anymore, but it's more what they've been working on for this year was the standardized communication protocol, and which has been worked out and has been approved. So this means that all brands are on the same level on the communication protocol. This doesn't mean that they all work with the same program, but it can all work on the same computer, on the same laptop. It makes it more easy and possible for universal tools to work with this information. Part 2 is where they are working on at the moment, is regarding the onboard diagnostics. So how can we make it possible that everybody can enter on this? Not everybody can enter, but that it's open for everybody. But there is still enough control and enough check on this information, so that it will not damage the electronics or the program in these tractors for engine regulations, the working of the gearbox and so on, so that we can ensure that everybody who enters in this onboard diagnostics is also able to work on this in the right way. And this is something that they are working on now, on how to integrate this in the tractors. This is done not on a European level, but it's in an ISO working group. So it's done worldwide. As in total, we are with our legislation on repair and maintenance information, the European legislation. We are actually something behind on the legislation that is already inactive for a couple of years in the US on the right to repair, which is more or less the same if you generalize it. But for the second point, we are active in the EU working group on agricultural tractors. It's about the type approval issues for non-road mobile machinery. We have one situation where we are talking with the European Commission, and we do this together with the European Contractors Association and Copa-Cogeca, the Farmers Association, where we say that there is a small thing going on the larger masses and dimensions, which are not allowed in all the countries. But with the existing European legislation can be blocked from being possible in countries that want to work with larger masses and dimensions, and which is in a lot of cases important for our customers to work with wider tires for less soil compaction or higher loads on the road to do the transport. So this is quite an important topic where we are working on with our colleagues from the contractors and the farmers. So for these situations, we try to look as much as possible to work together with CIMA, the manufacturers organization, CITAR, the contractors organization, Climar, Copa-Cogeca. Here on the right side, you see also a lot of other organizations where we work together with on the code of conduct for the sharing of agricultural data. We cannot do it alone. If we want to have a relevant lobby, we have to work together, and we look for this cooperation as much as we can. And I hope we are on a good pace with this. We think that we have really achieved some good points over the last year, and we will do our best to achieve even more in the coming year. That was it for my presentation. I want to thank you for your attention.